So in this video, we're going to take a quick look at attitude and how that affects security management and the typical mistakes that are made. Good security management, as I've mentioned so many times, is about hard work and effort. You know, it's not about being smart. If you're a decision maker, then contextual understanding comes before security management. Without good contextual understanding, you will not be able to identify threats effectively or qualify their consequences or magnitude. Threats come from the environment you're working in. There's a cause and effect often. Come from the operating environment, and the mitigation measures need to be applied in the operating environment, to the operating environment. You're acting on the operating environment, right? We are actors at the end of the day. When you're dealing with existential threats, death, kidnapping, injuries, harms, understanding people, their motivations and the stakes, and the relationship building is even more important, as is the mindset of understanding that acting in the environment is more important than talking about it. We often dedicate a lot of time and energy focused on armed actors, as I said before. That's natural because, as I said, we perceive the biggest threat coming from armed actors because they've got guns. But armed actors, as I said before as well, live with and in communities. They're part of communities. They're not only armed actors. They have other things. They do other things. They have other relationships. Influenced by more things than we imagine. Much more than us. Understanding how motivation and action interplay, not in a vacuum, is key. Unfortunately, in organizations, too much value is placed on individuals being good or bad at security, when it should be obvious that it has to be a much broader game, involving teams, involving information, involving the past, involving communities. It's not sexy. Effective security management is a lot of work, teamwork. We have this kind of thing that, security management is sexy, I'm great at security management, I'm the bomb. But no, it's hard work, right? It's a lot of work. It's information gathering, it's processing, it's relationship building, it's analyzing, it's recording information properly, it's creating a historical memory, it's all of that. And when all of those things are done properly and over time, not reset every time a new team comes, then you have effective security measure, where you are correctly looking at the threat landscape with specificity, and you're designing your mitigation measures, and you're making sure that they work, not waiting till the thing happens to find out if they work or not. And you're working a lot on prevention. What you can prevent, you reduce, and what you can't reduce, you work on the management. Some typical mistakes that I see or I've done in security management is, and I mentioned them before in the different videos, is thinking about security management as a one-dimensional abstract exercise. Too few people involved in threat identification and design of the mitigation measures. Too few simulations or no simulations. Too much ego and too little analysis, too many opinions, not analysis. And inadequate mitigation measures that come from not understanding motivation properly. Just a few things about the hierarchical lines involved in decision making regarding threat management. Hierarchy that is offsite, for example in capitals or in HQs, should understand its role as added value to mitigation measure design, and be wary of needing to know every single detail of description of what is happening at every moment in the operating environment. This can be read about in reports, and the hierarchical line should understand that their job is to add quality to the threat management, not place pressure from an urge to know and control. Trust should be the default position, as effective threat management is a collective, not an individual effort. So trust often is the problem. Yeah, you think, okay, my project coordinator is not experienced enough, therefore I must micromanage the security. No, train, mentor, support, etc. And understand that it's not just about the project coordinator or the head of mission or the country director. It's about the whole collective effort. Too much emphasis is also placed by hierarchy on the perceived experience and members of the too much emphasis is placed on the perceived experience and ability of the members in the decision-making chain of command. Hierarchy should focus on analytical quality, demanded, and scenario range, demanded, as well as ensuring full attention to testing contingencies, testing preparedness, rehearsing, having enough simulations, drills, and enough active thought experiments. This should be the work of hierarchy, to make sure this is happening, to encourage it, to support it, and not constantly be requiring updates on the contextual descriptions and evolving of the whatever's happening. Each part of the hierarchical line needs to bring a different type of value. The further away the person from the actual operating environment, the more angst they seem to have about being in the know, because they're a decision maker. It's logical, but they need to step back and focus more and more on predictive and preventive actions and reducing the proportion of assumptions and opinions by training, supporting, and explaining and ensuring effective threat identification and effective mitigation measures.